Alright, so it's been a while since I've last reviewed phones and stuff. It's good to be back, by the way. And I just recently felt like making some again, so I think we should just cut to the chase. Okay, with the Galaxy Note 20 launch event just around the corner in August 5th next month, I'd like to take a step back and have another look at last year's flagship, and simply compare it to this year's flagship and see how it will fare against its soon-to-be revealed younger sibling. First of all, let's talk about the hardware, particularly about what is visible to the naked eyes on the outside. You see, this phone is quite fun and boring at the same time since, well, fun, thanks to its super eye-catching color, or should I say colors, since the aura glow reflects light in a unique way. And also boring, thanks to its same body format. You know, glass metal sandwich, which almost all flagships use these days. And it's quite a while now. Oh, and let's not forget the super fingerprint magnet property of the back glass, especially in lighter colors such as this one. Okay, so enough with the exterior. Let's dive into the inside. We'll start this off with a feature that distinguishes this device to other flagships, which is the presence of an S Pen and its many uses. First of all being its ability to act as a remote while using the camera, which is the first in any Note devices, by the way, since this S Pen pairs via Bluetooth with the phone. And maybe the next most useful feature is converting your handwriting into text, no matter how bad your handwriting is. Yeah, I know these also may sound gimmicky, but I can tell a whole market segment who will find these features useful, which is creators. Moving on then to the performance capabilities. With the Exynos 9825 at its heart, 12 gigs of RAM and 4300 mAh battery, this device is clearly not going to be a letdown for handling everyday tasks, such as multitasking. And also, the ultrasonic fingerprint reader is actually reliable and dependable enough, but only just. You see, since this is the first gen ultrasonic sensors that you can also find in the S10 lineup, it sometimes wouldn't register your finger when you apply an inadequate amount of pressure onto it. But luckily, it's only a rather rare occasion. Most of the time, it does work well, and when it does, it's quick. Okay, so next up is the display. This phone packs a beautiful 6.8-inch dynamic AMOLED display with a maximum supported resolution of WQHD, something which you cannot find on the regular Note 10, weirdly enough. Well, although this isn't going to be much of a deal for most people anyway, it's still good to know that you have the option to crank it up higher or even lower. Well, okay. I don't think I need to talk too much about the display anyway, because in short, it's good, it's sharp, it's rich in color, just like every Samsung flagship's will. Media consumption is not going to be a problem, it's going to be great experience on this device, especially when you couple that with a stereo speaker setup with Dolby Atmos support. Oh, and by the way, Dolby Atmos support via stereo speaker on the phone itself can only be found on flagships. The non-flagship devices can only have this feature enabled over headphones. Let's move on to the camera setup. Down the back we can find a quad camera setup, which is pretty standard. A main sensor with OIS, ultra-wide sensor with super steady feature, 2x zoom camera, and a TOF sensor for 3D and depth sensing. It's a pretty standard camera setup. And just like the display, needless to say, the camera also works flawlessly. Both the front and back cameras. Sharp images? Check. Beautiful color? Check. And yeah, I'll admit, although color can be a little bit washed out when using some of the sensors, it's still a good camera for a phone. Okay, so moving on then to something that you may have noticed missing from the back of the phone, which is the heart rate sensor. It has always been present in Samsung flagships, and it's no longer present in this flagship. along with the headphone jack, which in all honesty we all know is just a move to encourage people to buy their other accessories such as the Galaxy Watch and the Galaxy Buds. Luckily though, the headphone included in the box is an AKG tuned earbuds, and it sounds no less than great. I like the sound characteristics, so still nice. As I mentioned earlier, this phone would appeal most to creators, and it's what I've been using it for all the time, creating stuff. I've captured tons of photos and edited countless of them. And I can say folks, editing using a NAS pen is way more comfortable, more accurate, and more fun to do. And you see, it's not always work and work to be done all the time. Gaming is also an essential part of life, which some spend more time than the other. And gaming on this device, while it might not have a high refresh rate display, is buttery smooth, thanks to its... Okay, so we've nearly reached the end, so in regard to the speculations of the upcoming Note 20 series, if we take a look back into the pattern of the previous generations of Samsung flagships, I think it's safe to say that it's gonna have the specs that are not that different from the S20 lineup, including the camera system, processor, display, storage technology, water resistance, etc, etc. Also, the very latest rumor states that it might be more expensive than we all expected, which could be as high as around 1500 euros for the top of the line model. I mean, seriously, if this is true, then I don't think I would be able to see how the price point would be justifiable anymore. I mean, see it this way. Is it going to be worth paying that much more extra in exchange for what has been and could be an incremental upgrade over the last gen model? So here's my thought. In my personal opinion, last year's model is going to be a better option if you want the very best of specs at a reasonable price. But at the end of the day, it all comes to personal preference. So that's been it for this video. Hope to see you guys on the next one. Carrot out.